let's talk about how you can find our show. You can, of course, if you're listening at 90.1 FM Houston, you can listen on air, live, etc., etc., etc. However, if you want to listen to us in alternative modes, please remember, go download the TuneIn application from your Android store or your Apple store. Find KPFT and stream it. You can as well just go to our website, kpft.org, kpft.org, and click on the listen button, and you can listen. You can stream us directly to your laptop, your telephone, your desktop, wherever. Alternatively, you can go to facebook.com/KPFT Houston and watch the show. Notice I didn't just say listen to the show, watch the show. More often than not, I have various video clips of either something from the news or something that we've done live elsewhere. I'll have some of these clips that you can actually listen to in real time as we're doing the show. And you can see it as well at facebook.com/KPFT Houston. You can also watch us on YouTube live at politicsdoneright.tv, politicsdoneright.tv. You can give us a call at any time during the show, 713-526-5738, 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to contribute, extension number 2 to come on air. I want to hear from you. I want to hear your point of view. Whether you agree with me or not, it is immaterial. What I'm constantly saying is America will get better when we don't have to agree with each other to love each other, but when we just have to talk to each other, we can agree to disagree. We can disagree agreeably without a problem. And still, by the way, any of you guys married out there? Do you agree with your wife all of the times? Any of you have kids? Do you agree with them any of the time? You know what I mean? Howard, you have kids. Do you ever agree with them all the time? I don't think so. Anyhow.
Not at all.
Not at all. Not at all. So, so why not make it that way with everybody that you deal with? Not agreeing with somebody doesn't mean or shouldn't give one reason to hate somebody. So let's get with the program and realize we're all in this game together. We're all on this spaceship together. We were put here. And you know what? Let's enjoy the ride, because we can choose to enjoy this ride. And if we enjoy this ride, you know what, folks? It's all good. It's all good. Anyway, I want to start the program with an interview that I did with Clayton, or rather, her name is Anderson Clayton. You're going to hear about this young lady. This young lady is going to revolutionize North Carolina's progressive movement. And she has become the leader of this entire state of North Carolina's Democratic Party. I want you to listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side. Welcome to Politics Done Right. She is the youngest person in the United States to run a state party. She is a Gen Z, the generation that knows what they want and will change the country if we leave it whole enough for positive change. Welcome to Politics Done Right, Miss Anderson Clayton, chairman of the North Carolina Democratic Party. How are you doing today?
I'm well. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Well, let me ask you this. First of all, and please, this is nothing about being ageist. How does a 25-year-old become the chairperson of the entire state of North Carolina, the Democratic Party of that state? How did that happen?
Some really good organizing. Well, there is a group called the State Executive Committee that's in every single state, and it is what the party chair is elected by from the Democratic Party. And so we had an amazing team of organizers who are all below the age of 30 across North Carolina who got active and came together to really put forward a new vision, a new version of what we wanted to see our party look like, which was one that was more inclusive, more holistic, organized across across 100 counties and really saw everyone as worth talking to and every vote worth fighting for.
Now, I love that you said that every vote worth fighting for. As it turns out, in your Twitter, on your Twitter header, you have the word pound rural in there. Hashtag rural. And that is something that I've been speaking about for quite some time now. You don't cede any votes to anybody. And if we could somehow get the older generations to understand that you don't do that, you fight for every vote, it would make a difference. So why don't you first elaborate on where did you come about saying we need to take the rural folks seriously?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm born and raised in Person County, North Carolina. So it's a county that's around 40,000 people-ish, and it's right near the Virginia border. And it was a county my entire life I spent it running from, right? I thought that I had to get out of Person County, I had to get out of Roxborough to ever really make something of my life. And I was told myself that growing up there a lot, right? And I think that most rural folks, when you talk to them, would say the same thing, that the opportunities are not there, the jobs are not there, the way to stay in your hometown or home county is not there. So I went to school at Appalachian State University, and I had the opportunity to, before I became Anderson Clayton in politics, I wanted to be the next Anderson Cooper, honestly. And so wanted to go into journalism first. And
Well, time out. Let me just tell you, you have the disposition to do that right now. But right now we need you in politics, girl.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I always dreamed of doing it a different way, but I realized I had a hard time just like telling stories rather than actually speaking on them sometimes, and being in rooms where, you couldn't give an opinion versus you were just trying to write one down or trying to write the story. I figured I couldn't do that anymore. I actually want to be talking about the issues that I was passionate about. And so I went to work for Kamala Harris's race, actually, when she was running for president in Iowa in 2019. And her campaign dropped me in a little tiny town called Belle Plaine, Iowa, in Benton County. And I sat there and I was like, there are no Democrats here. I do not know why I got dropped here by this presidential campaign. What on earth are they doing? And slowly but surely, I started to find and source Democrats that were passionate about seeing the first Black woman president of the United States. And I started to realize, oh my God, if these people are here in Benton County, what could be and exist in North Carolina? And so I found my way back home after I'd been on national campaigns for a while in 2021. And I became chair of the Person County Democratic Party in my hometown for the first time. And I just started organizing. And I said, I don't care if I never win an election here in rural North Carolina, but I want to give people somebody else to vote for and something to vote for. And we ran 3 really amazing Black Democrats for the Roxborough City Council in 2021. And we knocked 600 doors 3 times, and we ran slate cards for the first time. And we got the first ever Black majority city council that Roxborough had ever seen in its history. And it was an amazing opportunity, but it was something that I realized, this should have happened all along. This should have been happening all along. And in the South, where, you have really diverse rural communities that no one is tapping into because we've dubbed these places Trump country for the longest time, or that they're Republican and that there's never worth an opportunity getting out to them. Person County proved that wrong for me. And it was something where we have an opportunity across North Carolina to do that, but also across our country and especially the Deep South to do that too, to activate Black and brown populations that just don't know our party is really speaking to them right now.
What is interesting is you said something that was so important, and I don't even know if you just ran through it, and I don't even know if you see or you heard what you said. When you talk about you like to speak in stories, it is so important that people don't speak in policy. People listen in stories. They like to know that they can instantiate something within themselves from some story that they've heard, and that we always talk policy creates a problem. And I love that you spoke about you want to, I don't know how to write this down or whatever, but I wanted to talk to the people. That's all they're asking for. And that is what the other side has perfected so well. So tell us a little bit about how did you decide that I am going to do that? I'm going to pick up that mantra and I'm going to start telling my story.
I don't know. I think I've always known that I wanted to get involved in some way and do something that was bigger than myself. My mom and my my grandma were just really strong and vocal advocates for women's rights when I was growing up. But my grandma was somebody that in a rural county, you only knew one Molly Breeze, and she was the person that everybody went to for help, and when she passed away, unfortunately, 4 years ago. But people, when they came to her funeral, they just looked at me and they said, Molly Breeze was the person that gave me my first job. She was the person that gave me the first opportunity for me to do something. She gave me the last $5 that she had one time. And when I think about what a Democratic Party should be, I think about that. And so I've always, and I think anybody in a rural area would say they grew up knowing that they wanted to help people and that they always would. And so to me, organizing kind of became second nature. But when I was going into college for the first time in 2016, Republicans across North Carolina were looking at how do they disenfranchise college students the most. And they tried to take away voting sites across every college campus throughout the UNC system and within our state. And I was at school at Appalachian State University, as I said earlier, and the Watauga County Democratic Party was like, no, the hell y'all are not going to take away student voting rights, because we know that when students vote and they get organized and they get active, right, we win elections. And so the Watauga County Democratic Party sued the State Board of Elections in 2016 in order to keep up a lawsuit that they had going from 2014. And they kept that voting site, that early voting site, on campus. And when North Carolina went red in 2016 for Trump, Watauga County went blue. And this is a county in Western North Carolina in the mountains that everybody always depicts as like, oh, you can't go out there. You can't organize out there for Democrats, right? And they did. And I got involved with that. And it was the first time I had ever really felt like a small group of people coming together and doing something could really make an impact. And I don't know, it was kind of like, that was my only win in politics for a really long time. Because like I said, I worked for Kamala Harris's presidential race, which didn't work out that well. And then I worked in Eastern Kentucky for Amy McGrath. And until I came back home to Roxborough, it was the first election and the only election that I had won since. But it's what kept me going, And I think that that's something for every bit of young people to think about right now, is that we've got to keep going and we've got to keep pushing and making our communities better.
Anderson, you have to put the effort in. You can't just throw out some media out there, hope they listen to it. You have to go there and touch them flesh and blood. You got to be out there doing what needs to be done. And that's why you are the chair of the Democratic Party in the entire state of North Carolina, because that is a sort of affirmation that people need to hear. Now, interestingly, when people talk about rural areas, and we talk about speaking in stories, you go into a lot of these areas, hospitals are closing. Whose policies will reopen these hospitals, Miss Clayton?
Democrats. And I think that the thing that I keep trying to tell folks is that rural communities right now, the amazing money that we're getting from the American Rescue Plan and the bipartisan infrastructure bill, it's historic. And it is for a lot of different reasons. But when you're looking at rural North Carolina, rural America in general right now, getting this money for the first time, this is the first time in 50 years a federal administration has looked at a place like Person County and said, hey, y'all are worth investing in, and your future is worth having 50 years from now. And we're going to give you the money to decide what that can look like and what can propel it forward. And we need people in those communities to be getting to city council meetings and county commissioner meetings and honestly holding out their hands and going, where's my money? Where's my Democratic money that's coming down from the federal government right now? Because they're trying to bring our community back from the pandemic. They're trying to bring our economies back here. And with Joe Biden and the Harris administration, honestly, investing in manufacturing and bringing it back to being made in America again, right? North Carolina in 2007, when we had NAFTA passing and in every situation like rural manufacturing closing, there was a huge decline in jobs and economic opportunity for families that existed all over rural North Carolina and rural America in general, for that matter, too. But and I just think like Joe Biden's administration is saying, no, we shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? We shouldn't have made it so that we destroyed economies with that. We should have made it so that there was always a revitalization turn point for rural places. And it's just a neat opportunity right now to be able to say that. And so everywhere I go, I'm trying to tell people, Joe Biden believes in your future. Like, that's why we need him to be president.
It's interesting because wherever, if you cause disruption in some particular economy, if the government created treaties to create disruptions, it's a responsibility of the government to mitigate what it created, right? And that is what was missing from NAFTA. I don't know if you get into this, but one of the great parts of the Medicare for All plans that we have, wanting to give everybody healthcare, is as we displace insurance agents, as we displace all these other jobs that would be lost with having a efficient, coherent system. There are ways to mitigate for that. In other words, it's not one for the other. Why is it that we don't have Democrats out there telling that story the way you are able to go out there and tell the story city by city, town by town, community by community? I trust that is what you intend on doing and building back the Democratic Party in North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, I think that our party, when you look at, and I use Barack Obama a lot as an example, because I think that was really the last time that the Democratic Party actually did sort of a mobilization drive to get people back involved with our party, right? Like his campaign was energizing. It brought folks out from every walk of life to get involved. And we really haven't seen that type of energy since in our party. And I think we have to question why that is. And, Barack Obama's campaign did what no other one has done. And I feel like they had somebody everywhere. They organized everywhere. They had somebody everywhere you turn with a clipboard that said, are you getting registered? Like, are you registered to vote right now? Because we want you to be involved with this process. So we have to call more people into what we're doing. We have to train more people about how to talk about these things, because I also think that, right now, folks don't know. And I had someone the other day that came into my office and they were asking me, they said, Anderson, I can't get Joe Biden's $35 a month insulin. And, the one thing that stuck out to me is they said, oh my God, that man just called it Joe Biden's $35 a month insulin. That's amazing right there. But the second
Imagine that.
Yeah, imagine that, right? But like the second thing that he said, though, was also important, is that he couldn't access it right now. And he didn't know what drug company he needed. And it's for his wife. His wife is on insulin and she's still paying $500 a month for it. And he said, how do I go about accessing this? And so we were able to connect him with his Democratic state legislators. We were able to say, you need to go back and ask your doctor. Are they actually using Eli Lilly, who is the one that the Biden-Harris administration partnered with to make this happen? But there's still some things around that I'm like, we need to be doing this. If that one person's got this question, there's a lot of other people that have to have this question too, right? And right now we need to have the Democratic Party out there helping educate folks on how to access this and really making it accessible for folks. It's the same way I feel about the affordable connectivity program too, in that sense.
Excellent. Let me give you a quick answer about one thing as far as why didn't we continue with, let's say, OFA, etc. People fear your vibrance, your activism, because if people realize that they're actually empowered, many of those that are empowered, that want to ensure that you don't remain empowered, they know that power has to be shared. And what you're promoting there is what a Democratic Party really should be about. And that is power sharing, not only power sharing, but an equitable, we're not looking for equal. We're not looking for everybody to be the same. We're looking for equal access to success. Equal access to success based on what you want. Now, the last question I always ask is, what would you have liked me to ask you that for some reason I didn't?
Oh gosh, I don't know. How you can get involved. That's my one field pitch always. If there's anybody from North Carolina or that knows somebody from North Carolina that might be listening to the show right now, ncdp.org is where you can find out how to get involved. We're doing a volunteer call on Monday at 7 with Attorney General Josh Stein to talk about where we go from here, because we just had a abortion veto override, unfortunately, in our state that brought into a 12-week abortion ban in North Carolina. And so we're organizing on that. And we're trying to make sure that folks are out there in their communities registering voters and talking to people about November in 2023 and 2024.
Well, let me tell you, Miss Anderson Clayton, knowing that North Carolina's Democratic Party is in your hands, the hands of a young woman that seems to have immeasurable energy, I think only good things are going to be coming out in 2024. So you keep up the good works, and thank you for being here on this very quick ask for an interview.
Yeah, no, thank you for inviting me anytime. Happy to gab.
I mean, this young lady has the energy of 100 people. Let me just say that. And what she's doing with the party in North Carolina is immeasurable. Again, like I've said, both of these parties, they need an infusion of the youth and to get the good old boys out of there. In America right now, there are 3 vibrant women that I see. Two of them are Congress women, and one is running an entire state party. Here's Anderson Clayton running the entire state of North Carolina. Of course, we have Summer Lee out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, who just got elected freshman in Congress, 35 years old. And then we have AOC, who she's so good that so many try to malign her, have folks hate her. But the one thing that every Republican, every Democrat would tell you, when she goes into a committee meeting, she is ready. She's on the mark, she's on ball, and she's knowledgeable. Same with Summer Lee. And you've just listened to Anderson Clayton. We have some young people. We need to start seeding these parties to people who can make a difference, who have not been polluted by the cancer that corporations have instilled in older folk, both on the Democratic side and the Republican side as well, with all the things that, well, don't get me on the soapbox. Anyway, before we go any further, I want to remind you, this is a call-in show. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your opinions. It doesn't have to agree with mine. And I'm always civil with you, respectful to you. 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. Hit extension 1 to give us a support donation. Hit extension 2 to be on air. 713-526-5738. I want to welcome Eric Hayes is on the chat right now, and he said great school, talking about the Appalachian University that she spoke about. And Alistair Water thinks she is awesome, meaning Anderson Clayton was awesome. I mean, her parents have got to be beaming proud to have a daughter like that is involved. Anyhow, 713-526-5738. Before I go to the other subject, I want to go ahead and do a quick pitch here, reminding you folks that we are in fund drive mode, and this particular program must raise $250 every hour. We haven't raised our quota in over a week, so I want to ask you to provide whatever support you can. As in now, I'm going to be pitching for the next 2.5 minutes or so. So you get a chance to call and at 713-526-5738 extension 1 without losing any of the program. Sometimes I know folks don't want to call during the program because they want to listen. Well, I'm going to be pitching for about 2.5 minutes more. So please go ahead and make that call now, 713-526-5738, extension number 1, so that I can call your name out as a supporter of KPFT via Politics Done Right. Please remember to state that you're supporting Politics Done Right when you call in. Alternative, beforehand, let me go ahead and throw it to Brother Reynolds in the control room. Brother Reynolds.
Well, thank you, Egberto. I just wanted to go ahead and talk about Mr. McKinney's bus ride, which is really one of the cool things that we have for you. $75 donation for a 1.5-hour VIP tour of the historic Herman Park, also the Museum District 2 Texas Medical Center, with Mr. McKinney, who is more entertaining than you would possibly believe. It's an open-air bus. It's a once-a-month tour. $75 gets you on, and the proceeds go to KPFT. So there, I'm going to help you pitch a little bit.
I appreciate that like you would not imagine, my dear Reynolds. Hey, let me also tell you guys, folks, this is important. You can contribute anything. $25 gives you voting rights at KPFT. $40 gives you rights at KPFT, Pacific, everything. Either $25 or $40 contribution. But if you contribute $100, you also keep your voting rights, all that good stuff. And guess what? You get the Politics Done Right t-shirt with what again? The KPFT logo. 713-526-5738, extension numero 1. If you take a look at your screen right now, for those of you who are listening at politicsdoneright.tv or at facebook.com/KPFT Houston, you'll also see those bricks. We are having commemorative bricks with your name inscribed and whatever message you want. That's a $25 a month contribution, and you get a 4x8 brick that goes on our path People see that you are supporting a public station. Likewise, if you want a bigger brick with a bigger message, that's an 8x8 brick for $50, $50 a month, and you can get that. Alternatively, folks, my dear brothers and sisters, if you want to have coffee with Egberto, I'll take you out for some coffee. That's a $250 contribution. And we will go out for some coffee, my brother, my sister, whatever you want to talk about, we'll sit down and talk about. That's for 250 or more contribution. We have a taker so far last week. So let's go ahead and have more takers. I'd love to go ahead and have coffee with you. 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Be sure to tell them that this is in support of Politics Done Right for KPFT. Likewise, go to kpft.org. You can easily support us on just by going to our website, kpft.org, hit the donate button, the first option, and you can see all the different options for gifts, etc. that we have. Just remember to select Politics Done Right as the program you're supporting. I'm going to go ahead now and pass the baton to Brother Gonzalo. Come on in, Gonzalo.
Hey, Egberto, how are you?
¿Cómo estás, mi amigo mío? Talk to me.
Muy bien. I'm glad that you just brought the fresh politicians to the audience, because that gives us hope in probably not in the next election, but in the future, that we won't have those old people, let's say that word, because I'm neither in favor of Biden to be reelected because he's too old in politics and age-wise, and also the opponent. And I think we need fresh blood, younger generations to get into power. If we have got that already in Canada, Great Britain, and France, why not here to show the world we are a democracy, and we are a young democracy, and we are not run by old people who have old mentality and old ideas. So we need to have representatives to show the progressive side, and whether they're not progressive, even if they are Republicans, they need to be younger. I totally agree with that.
Gonzalo, it's interesting that you said that, and it's interesting that you brought up Canada, Great Britain, and other countries, right? Because you saw Biden at the G7, and you saw the young Canadian Prime Minister and the young British Prime Minister, and you saw some other people, a little bit older out there, and it was like, then you saw Biden. Look, I'm not being ageist here or anything at all, but the truth of the matter is, we have to share power. And I mean, we look at Senator Feinstein in the Senate, and she is harming look, and this goes, and this is not sexist either. Some people say, well, how can you talk about her when you had this senator from, I think it was from North Carolina, in a wheelchair come into the session sometimes? And look, we all should be cognizant that power should be shared around the ball, from age all the way down. And that the Senate has an average age of 60 something, 70, I don't even recall right now. And that the House has an average age of 50 something. When the country is majority under that, it's a problem, because it means there's a group of folks that are unrepresented. So I am 100% with you. Now, the problem with on the Democratic side, I mean, the Republicans are going to have a vibrant primary. The Democrats are unlikely to have that because, again, sillily, we don't believe in. When I say we, I'm talking the party does not believe in having this.
I understand, and I totally agree with you.
So it is time. But again, like you heard the three young ladies that I mentioned, and it somehow always comes from these young, vibrant women, right? Summer Lee, AOC, Anderson Clayton. Anderson Clayton, I saw her on MSNBC. And, when you're watching a news program, you're saying, ask her this, ask her that. Why don't you say it? So I didn't hear that on MSNBC. So I said, you know what? I'm going to call this woman up. So I found her on Twitter and I said, look, we are with KPFT here. Love what you had to say. Want to talk to you. And she's like, yeah, okay, let's talk. And was she wonderful or not?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think those are the people that we need to get elected. We have, for the first time in the history, Vice President Kamala Harris.
Yes.
I don't think we're ready for a female president for a number of reasons, but I think we definitely need younger generations in power, whether from one side or the other one.
Let me ask you, Gonzalo, I need to interrupt you a second. Why would you say that, your opinion, why you say we're not ready for a female president? By the way, I just want you to know that during the Obama administration, that's the same thing I said when it was respect to a black president. And I was surprisingly wrong. But go ahead. Why did you say that?
Okay, we both live in the South, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it's hard to get the vote, and in the past we have seen that with Hillary Clinton. Probably we're ready, but
Let me say one thing real quick here about this, Gonzalo, because there's.
And I'm not a sexist, so I'm not. Whether it's a woman or.
Oh no, I know. I know you're not saying that for you, Gonzalo. I know you're saying that because of the environment. I understand wholly. I know who you are. I can listen to your commentary and know that you are. You're an equal opportunity for everybody kind of guy. But it's about the people on the outside. I was wrong with Obama in that the right candidate is very, very important when you're going to be the breakthrough candidate for something people have never seen before. So I get exactly what you're talking about. I missed that with Obama in the beginning until the March of that year, at which point, taking my host hat off, that's when he had my support. Hillary had my support before Obama had it, until I figured out that he could actually win. Alistair Waters says, Elizabeth Warren would have had my vote. She would have had my vote too, my dear. Bumble BTF says, many young people would rather an experienced person like Bernie Sanders to represent them. But you know what? And there are many young people who are ready to represent everybody. Yeah. Anyway, Gonzalo, anything else before I go to the other subject?
No, I'm very glad to talk to you about this topic. Thank you very much for the opportunity of talking to the audience.
Thank you Thank you so kindly for listening. Thank you so kindly for calling in. Please let people know that we are back on air live, and go ahead, listen to 90.1 FM Houston, either on air or just go to our site at kpft.org. Thank you so kindly, sir.
Bye-bye.
All right, folks, 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to contribute to the program. Again, we haven't got anybody to thank yet, and I want to thank somebody. If you're looking at the screen, you can see those blocks and what it looks like on the screen. Love to hear from you. Anyway, last night, I was watching 60 Minutes, and I must admit to have become very irate, especially during these times where we are discussing the debt ceiling, where people want poor people to prove that you are looking for work, to prove that to get these measly dollars, that you are humping and going out there looking for a job irrespective. They want you to prove all of this. And look, most people want to work, folks. If you doubt it, go to any ghettos, go to any barrios, go to Appalachia, you see those bus stops filled. Okay? So our problem isn't that people don't want to work. Our problem is that people aren't getting paid a fair wage. Our problem is that people don't have the social safety net so that while having kids, they can have a good job. we need to restructure our entire social environment to promote work, to promote all these things. And with a 3% inflation, 3% unemployment rate, that tells us we are pretty darn much at full employment. Look around, you see jobs wanted everywhere. Those people who don't take those jobs need to either pay more so that it's worth your while, or we need and we need to bring more people into a country that isn't reproducing as fast as it's required to keep a sustainable level. So don't dare believe that. But then you watch a 60-minute program and you see that defense contractors are charging for the military something that costs $350 retail. They're selling it for $10,000. And because they're the only supplier for the military grade, the military is held hostage to a monopolistic corporation. And you know what? When the military is held hostage to pay whatever it has to pay for these things, it's not the military paying for it. It's you paying for it. So when they're telling you that, oh, by the way, we need to make sure that the measly few dollars that we're giving somebody for SNAP, or the measly few dollars that we're giving you for something else, that somehow we just need to prove you're going to work. When do we say that these corporations, you need to prove that you're not gouging us? You don't. Johnny, come on in. Let's get Johnny in. Para ver. There you go, Johnny. Come on in.
Good morning, my brother.
Good morning, sir.
I would have voted for Elizabeth Warren back in 1993 or back in 1973 if she were around at that time and if she was available to run for office. It's not because it's a she or a he. It's because of the progressive attitude overall, progressive policies. To say that, oh, we weren't ready to have a woman run for office till now, it's like saying, oh, women in 1973 weren't ready to have their own credit card or be able to take out their own business loans without their husband. This kind of thinking is too narrow-minded, and it tells you how brainwashed people are when they say stuff like that. I would not have voted for Hillary Clinton. Why? Not because it's she. It's because she wasn't progressive. She's a hedge fund bunny, just like her husband and her daughter. That's how you vote. You go on policy and voting record, not by their gender.
I think Gonzalo is a progressive person, and Gonzalo wasn't speaking about himself. Gonzalo was speaking about exactly what you just said. There's too many closed-minded folks that still live in the past, in the bad past, that would not have voted for a woman. That's what I think. That's what Gonzalo was pretty much saying.
Okay. Well, I wasn't necessarily speaking about your caller, Gonzalo.
Got you.
His call brought up to mind people I've heard so many times talk about gender in terms of political office. And that thinking is why we are the way we are. That's why capitalism run amok.
You know something? You are so right, my brother. You are so right. And thank you for calling and let me know that. Did you see 60 Minutes last night?
I saw part of it. I was in and out of the house. Which segment are you referring to?
The segment on the corporations getting ripped off. Or not, rather, the government getting ripped off by the corporations for defense.
Oh, yeah, the Pentagon.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Pentagon. We need to see so-called mainstream corporate media going more in depth than what they did. But it's a teeny tiny start, too little, too late. But it's better than never. Exactly,
and I was happy with it. I was happy, and I think the actual piece was well done. Actually, this particular one, many times they go over, they kind of do it in a lackluster, shallow manner. I think they did a good job here. But Johnny, I want to go to Alistair because you're my daily brother. You're my daily. So we talk later, okay, brother?
I'm your brother from another mother and another color.
All right, my man. You take care, brother. Love you. All right, let's go to Alistair. All right, brother. Alistair, come on in. Let's see. Alistair is on the air. Come on in. Alistair, how you doing? Alistair, you are on the air. And I can't hear Alistair. Okay. Alistair, are you there yet? Okay, I can't hear Alistair. Until you work that out, put Alistair on hold. Maybe she's on mute, and then let's go to Augie.
I am not connecting.
Oh, there is Alistair. There she is. Come on in, Alistair. How you doing? Oh, one more time, Alistair. We can't hear you. Oh, can you hear me now? Okay. Put Alistair on hold. For some reason, we have an issue. Let's see if it's an Alistair phone issue, and let's go to Augie. Augie, how you doing? All right. We may have a tad bit.
Well, we have some tin cans and string problem this morning, so we're going to see if we can figure this out.
Okay, we'll fix that, and let's go ahead and talk about the 60 minutes and until Howard get all those phones magically taken care of, and then we'll come into all those calls that are coming in right now. All right, look, so the 60 minutes, let me first preface this. Right now, the Republican Party is asking all those people who are getting some sort of assistance, and remember, people are not getting assistance because they're bad people. They're not getting assistance because somehow they're not able. They're getting assistance because our economic system is not paying a fair wage. And if you are getting a minimum wage and you're going to go to a pizza shop that only wants to give you a minimum wage, and you have to drive into that minimum wage with expensive gasoline, it could end up costing you more to go to work than to stay home. That's a mathematical issue. Now, we are always asking the poor, prove that you must have, as if people just want to take. The takers in America are not those who you would think of the takers. That person getting a measly few dollars for food stamps, that's not a taker. That person getting $10,000 20 times a month for something that costs $350. That's a thug. That's a thief. That's who many of our corporations are. Let's see if Alistair can come in now. I see that the green's on the screen. Alistair, are you there now? Okay. I'm not sure what's happening with our... Okay, who's on? Alistair?
Am I on?
You are on now. Talk to me.
I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. We had a bit of phone problems, but we're fixed.
No problem. No problem. Hey, good morning.
Good morning, my beautiful friend.
Hey, thank you, brother. I just got to address, my mom worked 2 full-time jobs as a single parent to support my little sister and I and herself. And she made too much to qualify for food stamp benefits, or Medicaid wasn't even an option at that time for us. We didn't have health insurance, and we barely, I mean, like, thank God for our church, because survival was what we were running in the majority of my teenage years, and saw my mom working herself to death. And so the fact that people are saying, you know, they don't have, what is it, skin in the game?
Right.
Is such a crock of crap. I can't even, and I didn't get to see my mom, you know, for 4 freaking years of my life growing up, when I could have really used her guidance as a teenager. So these punks that are talking smack that we've got welfare bombs and that, I know many people in my very, very, very red district where I grew up were like, nah, you don't deserve it. And you don't. Yeah. And yeah, no.
I want for all those folks for all those people right now that have to get some assistance and are out there working and doing other things. I want to tell you something. And this is from somebody who's worked hard, had several businesses, etc. I'm talking about myself. I have never once looked at somebody needing assistance as some negative issue. I've always looked at it as, have I not been blessed to have to have chosen a particular profession? Because here's the deal, Alistair. You have teachers right now that have to be on food stamps in certain school districts. You have people that are going out to work every day doing important work. I used to say this: my garbage person is more important than many other folks in my life. People don't don't get it. They have allowed a corporate structure to define what is worthy of money, what is worthy of wages, of a particular wage, etc. That stockbroker that is making hundreds of thousands of dollars contribute nothing to society. That teacher in that classroom who's taking care of my kid that's only making a few $1,000s a month to barely make it, she is so much more important to society than those charlatanes up there and in the boardroom who, just because they're called execs, make all this money but contribute very little to society. That person that is cleaning that tank, that oil tank in Pasadena, who right now continues to vote for conservatives who look down at them, is more worthy than the CEO of Exxon. We have to learn our worth. We have to learn that we are the ones who make America. We are the ones who contribute. So thank you for that, and thank your mother for that.
I also want to point out that there are military families that fall under the federal poverty level, which is hard to do, but they also receive, SNAP benefits and things like that. Because, and I'm sorry, but our military people talk about, we have to support our military members and our vets and that. But they're having to go to war potentially. They sign up their lives to fight for our democracy.
Alistair? Oops, we lost Alistair. Alistair, we lost you. Let's go to Augie. Augie, come on in.
Hello?
Yes, you're on, Augie.
Okay. Well, to continue with Alistair, I was in the military. I'm a retiree. And that means I can go out on base and get a room and go to the commissary and go to the BX. And people were complaining about years ago about people on food stamps and getting all this other stuff from the government. Well, like Alistair said, I'm in the commissary, which is a military grocery store, at a checkout line. And at the next checkout line, there's a young enlisted man with his wife and children. And when they're paying for their groceries, they're paying with food stamps. They're called food stamps at that time. Now it's SNAP. And here are all these Republicans supporting our military when our military, the ones that are on the front lines, are worrying about feeding their families and taking care of them. And that's been going on for a long time. I was in the military 4 years during Vietnam, and the military was different back then. We were taken care of. We had base hospitals on a lot of the bases. Now, most of those hospitals are closed. I was in the reserves, and I went to California for 3 weeks active duty that I volunteered for. And I was put in charge of some young active duty Air Force men. And when I was young and during Vietnam, we played football, and guy got hurt, broke a leg. We took him to the base hospital. He was taken care of. Well, these young guys, they were talking about playing football, and they broke an arm. And one of the guys got his arm broken. They took him what used to be the hospital, but now it's a clinic, and it's got a medic. And the medic said, yeah, he's got a broken arm, but you're going to have to take him to the hospital in town. They don't
it's a shame
like that.
It is a shame.
Yeah, so
Augie. Yeah, it is a shame. Augie, I only have 5 minutes, and I got to do a little bit of pitching here. Any quick closer that you can give me?
Oh, Oh, nothing about pitching. You said $250 for coffee with you.
Absolutely.
Well, the people there that I called don't know anything about that. If it's not T-shirts or coffee mugs, they don't know anything like concert tickets or anything else that the show is providing. They don't have anything about it. So I just asked for $250 towards you, and they said, well, they'll make a note and have member services call me up about that. Just thought I'd let you know about that.
Well, thank you. Did they at least take your credit card and all that good stuff, or I might need to tell these folks something?
No, they didn't because they couldn't find it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell folks what I try to tell folks is as long as they give $250 for whatever they want to do, because that would be my fault. I didn't tell them whatever they give $250 for. Even if it's for tickets or whatever, as long as it's for politics done right, I will have coffee with them. So as long as they say politics done right, so you can call them back, Augie, and tell them just give $250 and we got a deal. Okay, man.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you so kindly for calling in. Anyway, folks, I only got a few minutes more. Thank you, Augie. Here's the deal, folks. 713-526-5738. 713-526-5738. Extension number 1 to give support. $40 to go ahead and be a voting member of the Pacifica Network. You can also provide $100 for a T-shirt with the Politics Done Right logo and the KPFT logo. Or if you donate $250, just tell them you're donating $250 because they don't know that I gave this impromptu offer online. And once I see $250 tagged to my account, not my account, tagged to my program for KPFT, we are going to go ahead and have some coffee to talk whatever you want to talk about. 713-526-5738, extension number 1. We are behind on Politics Done Right on all our contributions for that. So please call 713-526-5738, extension 1, and provide whatever service, whatever option you can. Anything you want to say real quickly, Howard, before I close this baby out?
Oh, it's just been another great show, Egberto.
Well, thank you, guys. It's only great because you were there.
Interview. Oh, I was appreciating your interview earlier. So yes, we do need to get some young blood in there, get fresh ideas, get some of these old guys out of here.
I know we need to get out of the way. And, I think we're getting out. Guys like you and I get out of the way. We need the others to get out of the way. You know what I mean, Howard?
Indeed. I think Jack might have something to add here.
Jack, you got 15 seconds, brother. Add something.
He says he's good.
All right. I thought, come on, Jack, you had 15 seconds, man. Anyway, folks, 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Is Jack going to give me 15 seconds? 713-526-5738.
Yeah. 713-526-5738. Number 1 to donate. Number 2 to be on the air. And, I just never understood the tenured system we use for putting our presidents up there. I think we ought to go with our best talent.
I got you.
The progressive people, put them up.
You got
there
that right. You got that right, brother. Let me just do one last call. 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Van Beber, thank you so kindly for coming out here to handle those phones. And, of course, the one and only, the incomparable Senor Howard Reynolds, thank you for keeping all these things running. No, incomparable. I know my words. Incomparable, sir. 713-526-5738, extension 1. Please call, donate. We need your support. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right, and you know how I end this, baby. I am what? Out. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.